Hey guys, welcome back to A House of Rock and Stone. We're glad that you joined us. Make sure that you hit subscribe and hit that notification bell in the bottom corner, and you can choose to personalize it to where you just get some notifications, or if you want to see every time we upload, you can select that as well. If you're new to YouTube, welcome. We're glad you're here. What I want to talk to you about today is of rocks and rain. Rains began falling in February. We weren't quite sure about all that water and where it was going to go. Most of the time we kind of knew when it was going to rain. Sometimes we didn't. So it rained and then rained some more. We live in the South, so all of our greenery has to get water from somewhere. So this water just continues to fall. The hard part about all of that water is it goes somewhere, not always where you think. These wide foundations and deep basement is not much of a match for what is the impenetrable force of water. So in moving to this house, I knew there was some issues that we were going to face that my grandparents always faced, such as leaks in weird places, mostly upstairs. So we expected some water damage from all the rain that we've had. This is damage that's been here for several years, but some of the main areas that we know we need to fix, fortunately the only areas we can tell up here that are leaking is this spot right here that's kind of rotted out. A lot of the beams up top are okay. It's just the ceiling right here has fallen down, so we got to get that replaced. But that's part of fixing the water damage. It makes quite a mess. Don't you love that little picture wall mural? Made quite a mess down on the bottom. We keep a bucket here just so we can monitor how much it leaks. And actually we've had quite a bit of rain lately, and there's just a little bit of water in there. So it really doesn't leak all that much. My husband went up and adjusted some of the tin. So I think he actually got most of that leak fixed, and it's probably just running in when it rains really hard. But we also have some more water damage in this part of the ceiling near the chimney, and that's kind of expected. We did have a chimney inspector come out, and he looked at everything and he said, you know, this chimney, actually the supports and things are way too close to it. There's supposed to be so much clearance, which again, that's today's code. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the code in 1970 something when this construction of this chimney actually was. So there was a few places in the downstairs that also were problematic. I wasn't so aware of those. See, growing up, the basement was kind of this weird, kind of creepy area. No other kid ever thinks that, right? Every kid thinks the basement's the best thing ever. No, right? You've all been there. Your grandparents' basement, your own basement. Basements are just weird for some reason, and I don't know if that's because we prefer to be outside more, or if it's just because they tend to lack daylight. Ours doesn't have any windows. It only has a doorway going into it from the upstairs and one doorway out. So there's no real air that moves around, which is really problematic if you have water. So right now we're dealing with a little bit of a humidity issue, mostly because there is a leak that we're not sure where it's coming from. Now in most houses you would say, oh, okay, well the leak is coming through the foundation somewhere, maybe a tree root has done something, or there's a crack. And well, when your wall is 2 feet thick and made of different sized rocks and mortar and who knows what else, it gets a little bit more problematic. So I'm going to show you a little bit of footage I think you might enjoy. at the bottom of our steps going to the basement, it goes back into this like cellar area, which is where my grandparents kept their canned goods, stuff like that. It makes for a really great root cellar. This is completely surrounded by dirt. But the problem is right here, and I'm not sure how well you can see it. There's this line that goes across, and this is actually wood. And you can see it's kind of solid right here, but the further you go over, it's rotted out. So I think that we actually, and it's very soft right there. So what I think has happened is whatever on the other side of this wall, I think this piece of wood goes all the way through and has rotted out. And that's what's causing basically a channel for the water to go into our center room, because the place where I found the water is basically directly on the other side of this wall. Well, not this wall. This wall. See, there's even more nooks and crannies than you expected, isn't there? So wherever the water is coming in from over there or on this wall, as best we can tell, is that it's running under the floor here, and then it was coming out, I'm gonna use my shadow, ta-da! It was coming out from right here in this two little holes right here. So that's what was in those pictures that I was showing you, was that all that water was pouring out and coming all the way across the floor. And it's only done that a couple times, actually coming out here. For the most part, it does only come out in the other room. So this is a quick little tour of my basement. Right down there.